All right, so let's talk about thesis statements. Thesis statements are statements that generally go at the end of the first paragraph, although they do not have to. In fact, according to College Board, they will accept thesis statements that are either in the introductory paragraph or in the concluding paragraph. But it is traditionally found toward the end of the introductory paragraph, which is where I instruct my students that they should put their thesis statement. Now, if you recall when we talked about contextualization, that the form of the introductory paragraph generally takes the shape of a funnel, that you are building from broad contextualization about the region and the period and the other events that are taking place around the topic that's being discussed in the essay, and then you work down toward a specific claim that you are going to make about the topic of the question. So according to College Board, you have to do two things in order to get a point for your thesis statement. First, you have to respond to the prompt with a historically defensible thesis or claim. Again, that's where you are making a statement that you are going to try to prove to be true. Now, the second part that you also have to provide in order to get a full point is that you have to establish some line of reasoning that you plan to use in order to try to prove that that claim is true. So most of the time, these take the form, the line of reasoning takes the form of some type of category or categories that you're going to examine as evidence to try to prove the claim. So let's take a look back at our first example. And just for a reminder, let's look back at the question related to this essay. So again, the question is, in the period circa 400 to 1450 CE, the decline and reconstitution of empires in regions such as the Mediterranean, the Middle East, and East Asia affected the expansion or decline of cities across Afro-Eurasia. Develop an argument that evaluates how the process of decline and reconstitution of empires led to changes in urban development in Afro-Eurasia in the period circa 400 to 1450 CE. So we're basically talking about changes in cities in Afro-Eurasia as a result of the rise and decline of empires. So let's take a look back at the first sample. In a previous video on contextualization, video 1 on contextualization, we've already discussed the context that this person has provided for their essay. They mentioned in the period 400 to 1450, Afro-Eurasia was home to the rise and fall of many empires. These interactions between people of different empires helped to fuel urban developments. There's the connection to the topic of the paper. So now let's take a look at, that was their contextualization. Now let's take a look at what appears to be their thesis. The process of decline and reconstitution in empires led to changes in urban development by creating religious and learning centers and by creating centers of trade within reconstructed empires. The trading centers most affected urban development. So this is their thesis statement, and College Board has given them a full point for it because they both provide a claim and a line of reasoning, which we're going to take a look at here. I like to make sure I'm highlighting different parts of the essays, which is what I'm doing here. So this is a little bit of a long thesis statement. You don't necessarily have to have one of this length, but it does accomplish the College Board requirements. So let's look first for a claim. The claim is here in the first part of this sentence. The process of decline and reconstitution in empires led to changes in urban development. Right there, that is in fact their claim. So that's what gets them the credit for their claim. So I'm going to underline that part. Okay. So their claim is, what they're going to try to prove to be true is the process of decline and reconstitution in empires led to changes in urban development. That's what they want to try to prove. So now we need to take a look at their line of reasoning. What pieces of evidence, and we're not talking specific pieces of evidence, we're talking basically what general points are they going to try to make in order to try to prove that claim. So they start by saying, and then they continue by saying, by creating religious and learning centers and by creating centers of trade within reconstituted empires and trading centers most affected urban development. So this is where they actually get their point for their line of reasoning, which is right here. And my pens don't want to work. There we are. So this section is a line of reasoning, and up here they are making their claim. All right, so they get a full point. They achieve both of the requirements, but both making a claim and establishing a line of reasoning.